I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching Dawson's Creek, Season 1, Episode 5, A Hurricane.
This episode was a lot.
Where do you want to start?
Probably the least impactful. So like Grams, I guess.
So we did get a glimpse of what Grams turns into.
Yep, can't wait.
Which I did tell you.
Yeah.
Because before she has that really nice talk with Dawson, she is being very racist.
Mm-hmm.
And also just like too religious about Bessie and Bodhi.
Yeah.
And the baby.
Yep.
And Bessie and Bodhi are arguing the whole time about whether or not the baby should be circumcised. They also don't know yet if it's a boy or a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Bessie's team. Don't chop your baby's junk.
Yeah, it's mutilation.
It's mean.
Yeah.
And she's right. There are tons of studies that it actually does have a lasting trauma.
Yeah.
To the person. So, that's just my 2 cents. I really don't want to hear it if your opinion differs from me.
Well,
in the comments, I don't really care.
I mean, it is a puritanical ideal that has left over. So it is done. It was done to stop the base desires of men.
Guess what? It's not going to stop masturbation.
Yeah.
So.
But it's just, yeah. And then it was the level of like uncleanliness of it is not real, but it's the character like uncleanliness.
What?
So it's silly.
Yeah, so she basically is like, we don't even know if it's going to be a boy or a girl, and Graham's just like under her breath across the room is like, or black or white, and I'm like, well, it's not going to be one or the other. It's going to be both.
Big time both.
But yeah, she basically, and also the Bessie though keeps trying to be friendly because Bodhi is like trying to correct Graham's cooking,
mm-hmm.
and she's like, I know more about cooking than you, and meanwhile he like went to culinary school. He is a chef.
Yeah.
And so Bessie is like, it was really great, Mrs. Ryan, the chicken was good. And so it like, she's trying to keep the peace. And the next episode has more. She also, that was my, because it's not appropriate and it's not right, but I can almost let it go for her being sort of racist. She's so old and it's the 90s. I can like, I can excuse racism, but I can't excuse it, but like I could understand it from her as a character.
Right. Like I am not surprised that was a detail about her character.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then she's like, she makes a point to kind of contradict that and be like, that's not my issue. My issue is babies raising babies. And I'm like, I looked it up. Bessie is supposed to be 25. That's
mm-hmm.
a perfectly reasonable age to be having a baby.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe Grams has just like learned that while you may think 25 is old enough, you know, it's like you still don't know enough about yourself.
I mean, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
I just think it's like, and she's also very dicey about the fact that they're not married,
mm-hmm.
which I could give a shit. Like, it's ridiculous. So regardless, that is like probably the least of the issues
mm-hmm.
in this episode. There is a hurricane coming, Hurricane Christopher, which in my opinion is very early in the season for a hurricane to have made it all the way to Massachusetts.
Yep.
To the point where like they all are boarding up their houses.
Yeah, they really went for it.
Yeah. Basically, the Learys have invited everybody over, so that's why Joey, Bessie, and Bodhi are there, and then Jen and Grams are there as well. And we did get a very helpful clarifying line that Gramps is back in the hospital for some tests and stuff, so he'll be safe there while the rest of them are riding out the storm. And then Pacey has been forced to help his older brother, Doug, who is a Cape Side police officer, to like put out flags and stuff for the hurricane. And then he like sees Tamara like cleaning up the outside of her house for the storm and everything. And he decides to sneak over, but it turns out that Doug's already been helping her. Do you want to do this first?
Sure.
do you want to build it up, or do you want to skip straight to the gunplay?
Well, I feel like we need to build up to it as to like why there was gunplay.
Okay. I spoiled something for Rachel in our watch along. I'll say a couple things. The first is that she does not mind spoilers.
No.
The second is this is not a plot-based spoiler. And the third of which is I didn't even spoil the whole thing
mm-hmm.
about it.
And something like this, it is because I think you know how I am.
Yeah.
And so if something, like, if a show breaks something for me, I have a very hard time coming back from that. And so it was a spoiler that was needed for me because I probably would have been like, what the fuck?
So that's the thing. That's the thing is like even when you know the spoiler, which spoiler alert about Doug Witter, he is actually gay.
Mhm.
By the time the show ends, he is actually gay. I think that's spoiling that for you was necessary because even with that spoiler, him pulling a gun on Pacey and saying, "Tell her I'm not gay," is still character breaking.
Yeah, it really is.
It's insane.
Yep.
The only reason it gets even like a 1 ounce of a pass is because he is so deeply closeted with so much internal homophobia.
Yep.
That's the only reason why you can like allow it to, because it's literally never mentioned again. Like at no point is Pacey like, remember when you held a gun on me?
I would never.
Because he also, in that moment, Tamara is freaked out.
Yeah.
And Pacey's like, he does this kind of thing all the time. And it's like, that's not helpful.
Yeah, and then the fact that when it was all over and Deputy Doug was still like, I still want to take you out, I would have been like, no, you fucking psychopath!
Big no.
Because are you going to pull a gun on me if I don't like something?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Also, Pacey's the baby, so all of his siblings are older. But I think Doug is still not old enough for Tamara either.
No.
Like, he's not 30.
I think he said
35
he was 25.
or something. Yeah.
I think he said he was like 25.
So at least 10 years younger than her. I will say, he's hot.
No, he is. But he also has gay face. He's so pretty.
He's gay.
And he even said, he was like, just because I'm pretty doesn't mean I'm gay. Yes, it does, Doug.
Okay. Perhaps it doesn't. Maybe not. But
with that bone structure and that haircut,
and
sir.
All,
and that CD collection,
and all of that Hollywood musical knowledge,
sir.
Look, I don't like to stereotype. I'm not saying, but knowing in the future that he is, all roads lead back. Is all I'm saying.
Listen.
So
we glean a lot of information with very like specific societal things about people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just say. Also, for anybody who's even beginning to think about leaving me a comment for spoiling something for her, she knows how the series ends.
Yeah, I do.
So I don't want to hear it.
So like when we say watch, if like spoilers in the comment section, because I do read stuff, if there is...
She doesn't know the minutia.
Yes. Yeah. If there's like a big storyline or something, I mean, if you could maybe like not put it on there, that would be great. But like something like this, I do need to know.
I just think it's such important information to know about Doug. Just because of the reasons I already said. Because if you don't know that about Doug, then he's just a psycho that like no one ever talks about how there's a psycho roaming the town dressed up like a cop.
I'm already having such a hard time with this storyline as it is.
Yeah.
I didn't need that.
Yeah. It's really weird. Plus they're a captive audience. They're an unwilling captive audience to this gunplay because there is a hurricane raging outside and Pacey and Tamara can't leave.
Yep.
And it's Tamara's house.
Yep.
It's very weird. And so then you're right, he is trying to hit on her, again, in front of his baby brother, which feels weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he is like, they have such a weird, strained relationship, and so he keeps on making cracks about Pacey. He calls him like an idiot at one point.
An imbecile and all kinds of stuff.
It's really awful. And I mentioned also that his family is pretty terrible to him.
Yeah.
We get a lot of that in season 3 and 4, I think.
It's pretty bad.
He's not one of those, like, he's not like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. It's not like his family doesn't know what to do with him. He's enough like them that it should make sense.
But he's just the family whipping boy.
He's like the black sheep for kind of no reason.
Right.
Yeah. It's sort of ridiculous. But they are one of those like big Boston, like Irish Catholic kind of families. And so it's like, there's so many of them too. It's like, it's really a lot. And so that I guess kind of leaves us with the like Dawson, Jen, Joey, Gail, Mitch smoothie happening. A couple of things that I had forgotten and then realized in this episode, which kind of all gather into the perfect storm. Mitch is unemployed. which it's not that they're not struggling, but he is unemployed.
Yeah, which they never explicitly stated, did they?
I had to look it up because I thought he was, because all he's ever doing is tinkering around with that little model of the restaurant he wants to open.
Yeah.
Which is very mod. It's very 60s mod style.
Also, who's he making it for?
Well, he wants to open a restaurant.
I know, but who's he making it for?
I assume the bank or something as proof of concept.
Look at my diorama.
Was this a restaurant for ants?
Mr. Leary, how are we supposed to fit in this restaurant?
Come on, Mitch. Dawson, Jen, and Joey know about the affair.
Yes.
And so Dawson is taking it out on Jen and Joey. And most specifically, he hasn't fully forgiven Joey, but he's taking it out on Jen the most because
sex.
Well, because of the whole sex thing.
She's a harlot and a whore.
Yes, very Scarlet Woman energy. And so he gets in a fight with both of them, and he is really I do kind of love how he's laying it on thick with Gail before she knows he knows. Just because he's being such a 15-year-old about it. Sometimes I think it's funny, his over dramatics. Sometimes it really entertains me. And this is one of the moments because she also just doesn't know. So she's just kind of what is happening? What is going on? It's very funny. She also does have a nice moment with Joey. I think it's still inappropriate that she's discussing this stuff with her son's best friend.
It's anytime that a parent just an adult, we'll start there, but then a parent that you are close to tells you, don't tell anyone about my secret, that is putting so much pressure on a child. That's not right.
I'm not talking about that in this instance. The thing that I like is that little conversation that they have on the steps where, because she doesn't still ask her to not say anything, but they kind of come to a moment. And I think it's nice. I think specifically Mary-Margaret Humes, who plays Gail, and Mary Beth Peele, who plays Grams, I think they are so important to this show as adult women for these girls to look up to. Because Bessie is good for Joey, but also she's kind of naggy and she's not a series regular, so she's not around enough for it to make a difference. But I think the two of them are really in tandem with each other. I think it's really good.
I'm looking forward to both of them evening out because I do not like Gail at all. She gets
good. I promise. And Grams evens out in the next episode, which is called Baby. Bessie has her baby and Grams has to help, and it's it's kind of a over the hump kind of situation. Basically, in the midst of this hurricane, which in my opinion could not be a worse moment to be doing this with your house full of people.
Yeah.
Gail comes into the kitchen and says, Mitch, I need to tell you something. And Dawson, you should stay. And she's
because Dawson heard her talking on the phone to Bob. Being again, on the fucking stairwell in a house full of people.
Because she's not even in the closet like she was when Joey found out.
No, she was on the stairs. Not even all the way at the top. She was on the middle part.
Halfway up the stairs. And so she basically it takes her a minute to ramp up to it, but then she just is I've been having sex with another man. And she just says it. And then the power very dramatically immediately goes out. Mitch is understandably furious. And he does point that flashlight right in her eyeballs.
And it was very this. And then I don't know. It was a little horror movie for me because.
Well, as she was confessing, it went very Dutch angle.
Yeah. It was
so intense.
Really weird.
It was a little weird.
Yeah.
There is, I don't know if it's this season, but there is a Halloweenish episode. I think it's in season 2. No. It's episode 11. There's even though it's supposed to be the springtime, I don't know what fucking year it is. Regardless, there is a scary episode, and I remember when Will and I watched it, it was nothing but Dutch angles. The entire episode was this. It was very silly.
Yeah, just the way, because he went to go walk away, and she was wait, no, stop, or whatever. And then it's storming outside and it's pitch black and he turns and he shoves that flashlight in her face and she's just going like that. And so it's lit really spooky.
Yeah.
But it did kind of feel very Family Annihilator-ish. And he John Wesley Shipp played it like really big.
Yeah.
And so
he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah. And so
and Gail's pretty tiny, as big as her hair is. She's a pretty tiny lady.
Yeah. And so I like, again, I said it in the watch along. I am on his side. Like, he is every right
she
to
cheated.
be angry, but it's just because he's so angry. And then I'm like, ooh, don't do that.
He's like, you're right. He's like so physically angry.
Mhm.
And we did get the information that this has only been going on for 2 months. So it is like very fresh. It's like we potentially saw the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
Because we also got a note in either this episode or the last one that Jen has been here for 2 months. So it's like when Joey saw them kissing in the car, I could imagine that was the first time that they did it. Given the timeline that we have been led to believe, that's kind of what I'm thinking. In which case, I guess maybe if this is not this... No, I don't know what time of year it is, because if it's not the springtime, if this is the fall and Jen arrived in like September, like August or September, then it's way too late for it to be the sea-named hurricane. I think I had this exact conversation with Will.
No, because there was the first day of... They talked about the first day of school.
The first day of school.
Yeah.
So this is way too late in the season for a sea-named storm.
Mm.
Because if she arrived, let's give the benefit of the doubt and say she arrived on like August 1st.
Okay.
That means it's October. We start getting hurricanes in May sometimes.
I know, but we're Florida. We live in hurricanes.
They're all the same hurricanes.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I literally know nothing about hurricanes.
The Atlantic hurricanes have an A to W list.
I know nothing. I cannot confirm nor deny because I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
I'll tell you what I do know. I don't like them.
Yeah.
And I will take a snowstorm over a hurricane.
You have had one baby hurricane.
Right, and that was enough for me. That was enough for me. I don't want another one.
It didn't do anything.
Right, thank God. Because Minnie was outside and I couldn't protect her. No.
Okay, next time there's a hurricane, we'll put Will's car outside and we'll put Minnie in the garage. Okay. And you can be fine.
But no, because like with hurricanes, you have to sit there and wait for the chaos to happen and like maybe sometimes watch it. Whereas like snow, there is a level like a threat of like maybe violence, but like it's because trees will fall down.
What if the power goes out?
But that's all right. You prepare.
Freeze to death.
No, you have blankets. You have blankets and a fire.
Mm.
Yeah. But like, oh no, with the hurricane, it's just violently whipping and just yelling and whatever. And at least the snowstorm was pretty. You can get all snuggly and then you can like make yummy food. Just 100% would take a snowstorm.
I've been in category 4 hurricane since I was 7.
Disgusting. Ew. I don't want it.
Oh, sorry. Hurricane Andrew was a category 5 and I lived in New Orleans.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so there was that one, and then it was like a category 3 when I lived in St. Thomas, and then we had multiple hurricanes when I lived in
the fact that
South
you can
Carolina.
say that you've been evacuated on an airplane, like a massive military airplane, no thank you.
It was a C-130.
No!
It was only because the island was unfit for civilian living.
No. Simply no.
Okay, I say that from a place of great privilege because that only meant the like military civilian, like because my mom and I were civilians. Mm-hmm. All of my friends who lived on the island permanently and went to school, we drove past some of my friends picking through the rubble on the way to the C-130. It was truly horrible.
So sad.
It was really bad. That's why the L in Chicago freaked me out so bad, and why I had such a hard time watching Twister is because I lived through a hurricane.
Yeah.
It was
poor baby Kristen.
Poor baby Chris. I was 10 when that one happened.
Yeah, poor baby
or
Kristen.
9, I guess. But yeah.
So sad.
That's like within 2 years. I lived through 2 major hurricanes.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I've had zero trauma when it comes to snow.
Oh, I had trauma with snow. I have snow trauma. So after we had to leave St. Thomas for the hurricane, in which we lived on the bottom level of a condo,
okay,
and the roof on the top level blew off,
mm-hmm,
and the people that lived upstairs had to come down and shelter with us because the water was too high in there upstairs. I'm surprised it didn't flood. And the air conditioning that was grated from the outside, the wind shifted and it flew in like 2 seconds after my dad left my bedroom. Lots of stuff happened. So like that was September. Yeah. So like 2 months after that, I was living in Wisconsin with my grandparents. My mom and I went to Wisconsin when my dad finished his tour in St. Thomas. I was taking the bus home from school, and I was new, and I didn't really know where I lived, and I didn't know where my bus stop was, and it was blizzarding outside, and we were going home early, so the buses were still running, but it was blizzarding outside, and I didn't know where I lived, and I was still too new on the bus, and he dropped me off like a mile from my grandparents' house. I had to walk back in the snow. I got home, I got back to the house, and I was I was like shaking and freezing and red in the face and wet in my hair. And I was like, and my mom was like, why didn't you make him take you back? And I was like, I don't know where I live. Very intense.
Well, me and my mom,
I have a lot of weather trauma, actually.
Me and my mom spun out when we were driving somewhere when it was snowing. And that was when she had her Mustang. And I was really little. But I
you were going to say
that.
mustache? And I was like...
No, my dad has the mustache. My mom had the Mustang. Yeah, I think, and then, I mean, I, like, spun out and stuff, like, driving. But other than that, like...
That would scare the doo-doo out of me.
I mean... It was fine. I'm alive. Or I am.
Or are you? Rachel's been dead for 40 years.
I am dead at the base of a hill in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That is
where my body is currently
Rachel's
lying.
been dead for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. That's actually mostly it. Mitch and Gail kind of come to like a type of peace by the end of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, we need to talk about her reasoning. Her non-reasoning reasoning.
Which is nothing.
My life was perfect, and I wanted to want.
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't really get it. Because I was like, so when she first starts explaining why she had the affair, she is kind of ramping up to like, I wanted to be Diane Sawyer.
Yeah.
And it's like, and now I'm 40, and so I'm like not. And so there is, for me, a level of like, I didn't reach my dreams, so I decided to reach for something else, even though it wasn't the smart decision, like reasoning in there. But yeah, her just being like, I wanted to want something again is kind of like, oh.
But so then, but I also call shenanigans, because if her first inclination was to say, I gave up my dream of being Diane Sawyer, why is that not a dream that you constantly want? You were still in this line of work where you could still make that happen, maybe.
Sure. Well, she's a little old.
Right. But who's to say? Be the first.
It's true.
You know? So have that. Strive to that. So you mean to tell me that, like, you can't get, like, a bump up to, like, a local television show where you can, like, have your fun little mug of coffee and be like, like a local Katie Couric?
Yeah.
So...
Or you can't commute to Boston?
Right. But so you're telling me that you just decided that this is just what it is and I want nothing.
Yeah.
I simply don't believe you.
Because I think there's a difference, which we've discussed, you know, personally in the past. I think there's a difference between being content and being bored.
Right.
Like, if you're content, that doesn't mean you don't want anything else ever, but it's like I'm satisfied with where I am now. Like, I feel good about my life. I feel good about where I am. I still want things.
Right. But
one of them is not a foreign dick.
Right.
Like,
and so you can want things, but it's just, you don't covet anything that is going to instigate change.
Right.
So if you are in a part of your life where change is still a factor, then there is still growth to be had. But like being content, like you could still like, oh, you know, I want to eventually redo my bathroom.
Yeah.
I want to maybe start traveling. In 3 years, I want to go to Scotland. Like, there's always something that you can do. It's like the thing, if you're not learning, you're dead.
Yeah. So
that's on you for just deciding my life is perfect. Why could I want for anything?
Well, and it's also, and this is something that actually, if any combination of us ever does end up watching Friday Night Lights, it's like a final season thing that kind of happens where it's like, okay, Gail, so you didn't make your dreams happen, but you still have a decent job to the point where like you can keep this roof above your heads while Mitch is unemployed. Why don't you help him pursue his dreams of this restaurant?
Right.
Like, moving forward.
Right. Why can't you then decide that your husband's wants can also be a version of your wants?
Because that's like that would be like a fun thing for them to do together. Open up this restaurant together. Spoiler alert. I'm just saying, like, that's, you know, you can always pivot. If this thing is not fulfilling you anymore, again, there's no reason to go out and get a foreign dick. Just pivot to something that can still be fun for everybody. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, because there were moments in my life where I am satisfied.
Yeah.
But that I still want more. I still desire for more, because that is opportunity for growth for myself.
Yeah.
I'm so confused. Like, just what a weird reason.
Yeah. Because it's like not a reason.
No.
Because if it was the kind of thing where it's like, I'm going nowhere in my job, and like we hadn't been seeing them bang on literally every horizontal surface of the house and like acting so in love. So it's like she's not fulfilled at work, she's not fulfilled at home. But she even says that Dawson is a brilliant child, and I'm just like,
without air quotes.
Without air, like she's very sincere about it. So I'm like, if she's not fulfilled at work, she's not fulfilled at home, and if Dawson is a dud, like we know he is, that's a triumvirate for having an affair.
Yeah.
Like that's 3 good reasons to be like, I need a foreign dick. Like,
yeah. And it's just because it's like you're already feeling so desired. So
that's the thing for me where I'm like, I don't get it.
And
there's no way that Bob was worshiping her like Mitch clearly is.
Like Mitch was making music with her body, I feel like. He knew how to make her hit those high notes. I
feel like Mitch goes downtown.
Oh yeah.
For like an hour.
Oh yeah.
Before he even thinks about himself.
He's a giver.
Yeah.
He has giver energy. I don't know. And again, the way that I consume media is I put myself in characters' shoes, because I would like how I would respond to this. And so when I'm in a committed relationship, blinders, everything up, face blindness. I don't know anyone else. Like
real people, that doesn't count for celebrities.
Yeah. Oh no.
Because if you were in a committed relationship and Jeremy Allen White wandered up to you,
I'd be like, I'm so sorry, committed person. I have to go.
Goodbye.
Yeah. I need to go recreate a GQ spread. Yeah. Was it GQ or British Vogue?
The most recent one?
Yeah.
I think it was Vogue.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I can't.
It's like a dirty 70s locker room.
I know. It looks like Foxcatcher, that wrestling movie.
I never actually saw that.
It's good.
Will likes it.
Yeah, it's good. It's like that, except not sad. And gross.
That has a murder in it.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I don't know. And when I would like even think about like just entertain it, like if I got a wild hair, and I'm like, no, because it would be so much fucking work that I'm already investing so much in my relationship.
Yeah.
And then I have to learn. So I have to start all over with another person and learn their idiosyncrasies and their little quirks and what they like and what I like with that particular person. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
No.
It sounds horrible.
I just got to the point with my dude that he finally knows how to like get it going.
Yeah.
To turn my engine over.
It's not worth it.
No, it's really not. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I also like myself, so I don't know. It's very weird to me just to blow your life up for the sake of blowing it up.
Yeah. I also like I have had low self-esteem, but my self-esteem has never been low enough for me to just like take whatever attention was given to me.
Right. I don't know.
Because if it's the wrong kind of attention, I'm like, please stop
100%
observing me.
100%. And also, people assume that I'm doing something for attention when I'm like, this is just who I am as a person. I don't think about you at all. But thanks for the applause, though, I guess. I don't know.
I think that is like actually kind of the sickest burn to be like, I don't think about you at all.
That's why I say it.
Yeah.
When people are like, oh, because you like attention.
Okay, we almost got out of this without talking about Jen's past.
Yeah. 12, bro.
So she basically forces Dawson to listen to her, and she's like, this is what happened. I barely remember it because I was drunk and on drugs most of the time. And the final straw was that my dad came home and caught me having sex in his bed. And so he kicked me out and sent me here. I'm actually, I can't remember. I think there's one more component to it.
Okay.
It's still awful regardless, but it's like, her point basically is she was like, I was sexualized way too young, and that I don't want to be jumping into bed. I don't think it was good for me. I'm actually not really that person. I was a product of the environment I was in, and I had like very little supervision. She basically was like Gossip Girl before Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
And so, and like, but it wasn't in like a cute, sexy way. It was in like a bad, sexy way. And so I do kind of love that she just like really owned all of that. She was like, look, if you're going to be pissed at me, you need to be pissed at me for everything. And you shouldn't be pissed at me because it wasn't what I wanted to be. It's not who I am. I'm somewhere in the middle of what you thought I was and what I was doing in New York. And also, I just like think that's fine.
Yeah. I thought it was really a really interesting acting choice that she turned away from him.
Yeah.
And she delivered most of that with her back to him.
Only one of these bitches has an Oscar.
Thinking. Using those actor brains.
She's very good. She I think she won something. I think I mentioned it too before. Either she won something or Mary Beth Peele won something.
Oh,
and she introduced her, and she was like, I learned so much because I think Mary Beth Peele does a lot of theater as well. And so she was like, I learned so much from her on Dawson's Creek. And I think I said these exact words, but she has always been very effusive when she's talking about Dawson's Creek. Like she does, like James Van Der Beek really tried to divorce himself from it. And I think with relatively good reason, because his performance especially is dicey, but I don't really think it's his fault.
No.
Not 100% his fault.
No.
And Joshua Jackson's carved out a nice little niche. And I like Katie Holmes as a post-Dawson's actress. She just doesn't do it enough.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe she got a fat settlement from Scientology.
That would be nice.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the whole thing. I think you're going to come out of this with Jen being your favorite character.
I already like her so much more, and I really did not like her. When, like, the little bits that I would see here and there, I really did not like her. I can't tell you what episodes I saw. They fell out of my head.
Well, you were going to have a hard time with her in season 2, but again, it's like, she evens out as well.
Okay.
So it's like, she goes through, which in, I think, 2 episodes, we're going to meet Abby. She goes through a rough patch with this girl named Abby. It's sort of like Tina and Tammy on Bob's Burgers, where like Abby is a bad influence. So yeah, that is largely it. Everybody basically.
Well, she went right back up on the pedestal from Dawson.
Well, now she's broken.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, "I don't deserve you. Will you have me?" What?
No, barf.
Disgusting.
Definitely not.
And then he like made up with
Joey.
Yeah, and was like, "I don't deserve you either."
No, he doesn't. And then they played Jaws in the closet, which is not a euphemism. It's not one.
Oh man.
All right. So that is largely it for episode 5. Yep. We will be back shortly with episode 6. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.